celebrations of St. Patrick here in Armagh with Mass, and you have all heard and read the homily, I hope, which a lot of work has gone into. In that homily I was talking about many issues, and above all I apologised to those who have suffered as a result of abuse in the past, and I particularly apologise to those who, due to my failures in the past, have suffered. I went on to say that these are momentous times in the Irish Church, important days, and I said that over the next couple of weeks, especially Holy Week, Easter time, we will be reflecting on what the new future requires, to which we are all committed.
Just 1 second. Go ahead, Cardinal.
I said also that dealing with the past is never easy for individuals, for society, for the Church. But it has to be done, and the future has to be faced. And I also asked the question, do people who have made mistakes in the past, can they have any part in shaping and going forward? That's basically my position here this morning. There are many other things we have to do. Celebration with Blessing of Shamrock here in a few minutes with the Scouts of Armagh. And then there is the parade, which will be where Archbishop Harper and myself and the Mayor of Armagh will be celebrating the National Feast Day. And that's where we're at this morning on this. So I'm sorry for keeping you waiting here, because I know you have work and have deadlines to meet. And
can we take a number of questions?
Yes, you have a question.
UTV.
Cardinal Martin McGuinness, the Deputy First Minister, and the SLP's Alban McGuinness have called on you to reconsider your position. Are you going to resign?
I'm going to reflect a lot. I've called for time to reflect on the situation. That's what I said in the last paragraph of the homily there. I said I will take time to reflect and pray and
consider resigning?
I said I would reflect and pray and listen to many people. Listen to many people. The people who, you see the people of Armagh here, the people of the parishes, the priests, the religious, and reflect on all of that.
Cardinal, can I just ask you,
TV3.
Cardinal, you've humbly acknowledged that there were some failings on your part today in your statement. But last December you said that if any failings on your part, paraphrasing you now, if there were any failings on your part that led to cause a child to suffer, that you would resign. So there is a statement from you in the past.
This statement was made to Tommy Gorman of RTE last December. He said, in the context of my being a bishop, that's a very important distinction to make. You put in the context of a manager, but that's a bishop in that sense. And he said, if you had failed to act, well, two important things. I was not a bishop then, and I consider that I acted within the limits of my powers, because I was simply a notary recording the facts there, taking them back to my bishop. I acted. Okay, now, with the benefit of hindsight, of course I know that my actions were, I think, hopelessly inadequate was what we used there today. We know that with the benefit of hindsight, and hindsight is a great...
Why is it only coming out now, Cardinal? Why 35 years later or 25 years later?
Well, this information didn't belong to me. It was down in the Diocese of Kilmore.
But as you climbed through the ranks of the Church, and especially with everything we've heard in recent times, when you reflected on what happened back in 1975, did it not occur to you to then come out and say, well, look, I was present as a priest back then in 1975, in hindsight perhaps I should have done more, I didn't do it, and sort of reveal the situation that way instead of it coming out the way it has come out?
Well, first of all, I didn't climb to the ranks. I went back. I was acting there not even as a part-time secretary of my bishop, an occasional person who was called in occasionally to do some secretarial tasks. I did the job I was given to do to the best of my ability, and brought the evidence which he was seeking to him to enable him to take action. And that is what I saw as my task.
But that was back then. But
Yeah.
That was back then,
but
precisely.
now Cardinal, now as a Cardinal,
The media have reported on this story publicly
Sorry.
in 1997. So it's not correct to say that
Yeah.
this, and I can give you information on that after this briefing. BBC
see-
for the final question.
You see, I did my part, and the man with the pastoral care there were two other partners, the bishop of the place and the religious order. Okay, sins of omission are we all can examine our conscience on sins of omission, and it'll take a long time to do.
I can give you details. BBC.
I said I've changed because I've reflected on all the events of these days, but I've saying that there's a new future, and I'm asking the question: do wounded healers have any part in the future? I was obviously St. Patrick's Day. You think back to his confessions, where he talks in it about things were brought up in his life that happened 30 years before. He reflected upon them. He asked God's help. And that's what I am doing, because that is not really important what I do. It's what important that God's work be done and that God's voice be heard and that we listen to the Holy Spirit. And that's where and also I listen to people who pray, the people who come to Mass, the people who pray, who support me, who are telling me there, there's plenty of pressure on me to stay.
But there's also pressure on you to go.
But the people who I met this morning are